Hello, I'm Terry Gilliam with the Leaving California Groups. Today, I am thrilled to interview and connect with Carol Ann Logue. She is the director of the University of Central Florida Business Incubation Program. Hello, Carol Ann.
Hey, Terry.
Well, thanks for joining me today. Could you take just a couple of minutes, tell us about yourself, and then tell us about the UCF incubation program and how it can assist people like Californians and others who want to perhaps start a business in Central Florida, expand a business in Central Florida, or move a business to Central Florida.
Thank you. Happy to, Terry. And I just do want to say that what I will share with you about this particular program at UCF is just one little piece of a broad and very multifaceted network of organizations here in Metro Orlando that exists to help entrepreneurs and businesses locate, start up, grow, and thrive here in Central Florida. So just be aware that there's a lot more to the story of Metro Orlando. So I've been at UCF now for about 16 years. My background is primarily being based in universities, and on behalf of that university, working with entrepreneurs, primarily really high-tech, innovative companies that are really driving a lot of economic vitality in a lot of high-growth, high-tech areas, and helping those companies connect to the assets and resources of the university, but certainly to the community as well. And in our business incubation program here at UCF, we've been in this business for a while. The program's about 20 years old now. I haven't been here the whole time, but I've been here a good bit of the time. And we have a pretty successful history, I would say, in helping early stage companies with significant growth potential grow faster, be smarter, and stay alive and thrive. That's what I like to say that we're in the business of doing. I would, if you don't mind, Terry, I have just a few slides that I'll share that I think might help convey the story here as I talk a little bit more about our specific program. And I actually should not assume that anybody watching this understands what an incubator actually is either. So when you hear that word, you probably have one of two pictures in your head. If you've been in a hospital or healthcare setting, you may be thinking about that incubator in a neonatal intensive care unit or some other healthcare facility with that premature infant. Or if you're like me, a farm girl from Arkansas, the largest chicken producing state in the country, you think about chickens, right? And those eggs that are incubated and so that embryos can survive and emerge out of that egg. Business incubators really are designed to do the very same thing that those two environments are. We're designed to provide a very comprehensive set of elements, services, create that environment for early stage companies to thrive and then graduate out, emerge out of the incubator and be successful companies continuing to grow in the community. Like many incubators, most of our companies are with us physically on site. And with that, I'm going to pull up my slides here so that what I say to you will have a little bit more context to it. Now you see on that screen two logos, the UCF Business Incubation Program and UCF Innovation Districts. That district's logo will make sense in just a moment, but I am co-director actually of both of these parts of our ecosystem here at UCF. We actually have 7 physical incubator facilities across the Metro Orlando area. Most of you are probably not familiar with where these names are, like Volusia County, that's Daytona. Probably everybody knows Daytona, right? So that's Volusia County is the home of Daytona and the famous NASCAR racing site. Winter Springs, Orlando, Kissimmee, and then 3 other incubators that you see in red that, again, you wouldn't necessarily know the geographic location of them. But the point of this slide is that our 7 incubators are divided into 2 subsets of incubators. 3 of them are focused on very specific, high growth, leading edge technology and industry sectors that I'll talk about on the next slide. And our other 4, the regional business growth centers, are very rich and deeply embedded in those specific communities that they are located in, and house a really wide variety of companies. Again, all companies that have significant growth potential from what we see in our screening of them, but they're not in specific technology sectors. Some of them are services companies, but all have significant opportunity to grow and create jobs and achieve a significant market share. We are not situated and don't focus on companies that are only going to be local in their market. The companies that we support, that we look for, are companies that have products or services that are serving and meeting a need in the market, that has a competitive advantage in the market, and that are going to be able to scale nationally, even internationally, potentially, with the right strategy, and very importantly, the right execution and the right team and the right kind of support to help them achieve that. Our innovation districts that I mentioned, we have 3 areas in the Metro Orlando area that are anchored around our 3 main campuses of the University of Central Florida. In each of those districts, we have incubators, as you can see there, that are aligned with not only the research and academic strengths of those 3 campuses, but also are located in areas of the community where there are existing and or rapidly emerging clusters of technology and industry, and very diverse communities in each of those industry sectors. Customers, large companies, small companies, meetup groups, industry associations, service providers, facilities, innovation and collaboration centers, just all sorts of elements in those areas of the community that contribute to supporting development of those clusters. If any of you are watching this and, for example, you are in the defense contracting space, one of the deepest and biggest industry clusters here in Central Florida is the defense industry. We are the home of the Department of Defense's acquisition commands for training and simulation products for our military personnel. And that's why you see defense and simulation and training anchored around a research part, and serve a lot of companies in that space. But defense is very broad and very big. Of course, everybody on this call knows about Kennedy Space Center and NASA, which is 25 miles east of the Orlando main campus of UCF. We are very deeply involved in the space industry, support a lot of companies in that space. A lot of companies in California are in that space as well. Autonomous vehicles. Florida is a leading state in smart transportation, autonomous vehicle research, as is UCF. So just lots of areas of innovation, technology that we support in our incubation program, that UCF has deep experience in terms of research, academic programs, students, workforce pipeline, and rich communities of other companies, industry associations, and other entities that are part of those clusters. Just briefly, we have 4 different stages, if you will, at which we engage with entrepreneurs and early stage companies that would like to participate with our programs. The individual that has maybe just started a company or is starting down the process of starting a company has a great idea for a business that looks like it could be highly competitive in the market and could have significant growth potential, but still there are a lot of questions to be answered to determine if it makes sense to continue to move forward and to really understand who the customer is for that solution, what the business model is, the revenue model is, the channels to market, all of that. We invite those individuals to participate in a boot camp that we run several times a year that walks them through that process of really digging in to build that strategy, to build that market and customer knowledge about their business offering and determine where to go, if to move forward at all. For companies that are a little bit farther along, they've got some initial customers, maybe have a prototype, they come in at the traction stage that you see. We do have companies come to us that have already achieved some interesting market traction, but they are about to hit that stage where they're going to scale up, and they've still got a lot of work to do in building out their company infrastructure and getting great coaching and mentoring. Maybe they need some of our specialized facilities, such as the laboratories that we have. Maybe they need help with capital access. Just a lot of things that need to be put in place to ensure that the company is in a really strong position, well-structured, and to take advantage of the growth opportunities that they have. The soft landing program, which not every incubator that you run into has a program like this soft landing program, but from the very beginning, 20 years or so ago, we have had a component of our incubator program targeting companies that are headquartered outside of Florida, outside the US potentially, that want to stand up perhaps a satellite operation, stand up an R&D operation here in Orlando to work with UCF, or if it's an international company, it means standing up a US or North American subsidiary to be able to take advantage of business opportunities in the US. But in any of those cases, they're not going to bring 25 or 50 people here. They're going to start with 1 or 2 individuals. And we provide a package of services and support to help them land here with lots of flexibility, get connected into the community, help them explore the business opportunities, get connected to the university. If it's an international company, they're really starting all over, learning what business in the US is like, and they need all new service providers like attorneys and accountants and everything. And we have been very successful in helping companies from all over the world, literally, and certainly all over the US, expand here. An interesting number of whom have ended up relocating their corporate headquarters here from some other state as well, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Oklahoma, because they just found that doing business here in Central Florida was much more advantageous for them in a number of ways. And that is, I think, sufficient, Terry, unless there's some questions that you think would be helpful for your audience for me to answer.
Sure. And that was great information. Thank you, Carol Ann. The first question I have is, I saw on there you have support services, whether it's mentorship or advising. Can you just speak to that a little bit about how that program works and what type of support services you're offering?
Certainly, thank you. Our mentoring, we have a formal mentoring program where we have recruited, vetted, experienced individuals that have started a company, grown a company successfully. Many of them have sold companies, they've done multiple ones. But the point being that these aren't just individuals who have really extraordinary top-level executive experience. They have built a company from the ground up. So they understand the struggles and the challenges that our clients are going through. We match them with our clients that are interested in having a mentor for 6 to 12 months and facilitate that relationship for our CEO, our founders of our client companies to engage with this highly experienced individual and take advantage of the knowledge that they have and the experiences and the advice that they can share. Coaching and advising come in a lot of different forms. all of us on the incubator staff, and I have 7 other staff members, site managers that report to me, and we all bring different types of background in business. I've been with a startup myself. I've worked with a lot of startups and entrepreneurs my whole career, as have my colleagues. But many times we're the first line of defense. Our job then is to reach out to a broad network of people that we know, either in the community, statewide, even beyond. Our UCF alumni love to give back, frankly, in their professional capacity by engaging with us to help our companies. Service providers, attorneys, marketing companies, HR companies, cybersecurity companies, just you name it. When it comes to professional services, we have a large pool of professionals that love to just come spend a day here pro bono, meeting with companies to educate them, advise them, give them some guidance, ask them some hard questions. That's a big part of our job with our clients, is to ask a lot of hard questions as well. And then our graduates. We have over 350 companies that have graduated from the incubator program. And those founders and CEOs are always happy to give back to this program and to UCF and to those companies coming through behind them to share their experience as well.
That's great. And so you've got the business incubator, you've got Florida, which is a pro-business state, and your government supports what you're doing, obviously. Mm-hmm. I always say that California is almost anti-business. They look at businesses as an ATM machine and a place to regulate so that they can extract onerous ways of just making more money out of businesses. People aren't used to a pro-business environment like this. Mm-hmm. And it's not just the fact that there's an incubator there. It's the government. You've got public and private partnerships that go along with that. You've got the University of Central Florida Economic Development. So all of that works together to help businesses thrive as opposed to just surviving like most businesses have been for the last year in California.
Sure. Certainly, yeah. And, there's certainly, I think, areas of any state, and Florida's no exception, where there's communities that maybe aren't quite as pro-development as others. But for the most part, you're right. I mean, the growth has really picked up again after this last year. We've always seen a lot of in-migration here and companies and individuals moving to Florida, obviously. And the uptick in that is really quite astonishing right now. And there's just a lot of support for companies that want to come into the community. Now, I will have to say, though, if you're a company executive out there and you are looking for economic incentives to entice you to move to Florida, we're not the state to look for that. I'm just going to be real frank, and my economic development colleagues would agree with me. There's lots of reasons for that. I'm not going to go into it, but there's, especially for small companies, there are not economic incentives to move here. However, the incentives are different, and they don't come in the form of dollars from our government, our state government, state and local government. They come in the form of the dollars you save because of the lower cost of doing business. They come in the form of dollars and time that you save by the extraordinary workforce that we have here in Florida. It's pretty easy to recruit people to Florida as well, as in some industry sectors more than others in particular. But we have extraordinary academic institutions in this state, our state university system, as well as many really top-ranked private colleges and universities that turn out really amazing students all the time. And tax-friendly, no income tax, that kind of thing. So there's just a lot of ways that you save money, and can be easier to make money in some cases because we are a gateway to Latin America. It's easy access to European markets from here, a lot of Canadian access in here as well. In fact, I just did a similar presentation to a group of companies on behalf of the Canadian consulate recently, or last week, I think. So
That's great. So can you also just briefly speak to the infrastructure? You have homes are affordable in Orlando, and commercial space is affordable, and they're continuing to grow those, I assume. So can you just kind of speak to that? Because again, out here, everything's expensive. Real estate's expensive, gas is expensive, everything's expensive.
Yeah, yeah. I admit I'm not the most knowledgeable about all that compared to probably my colleagues that are in economic development, but certainly I think our biggest challenge right now is supply of homes because of the demand. The cost compared to other locations like perhaps California, some places in the Northeast, obviously, it is less expensive. There's still land to buy. There's a lot of development going on. There is just everywhere I turn, there are new subdivisions and new apartment complexes and new condo complexes being built. It has really picked back up. So there's definitely housing that, if not, it's coming on the market really rapidly. And commercial space, depending on where you want to be, there's absolutely industrial space, commercial space, office space that is, from what I hear from companies that are looking to relocate to Florida, is really reasonable compared to what they've been paying.
So if someone is interested in exploring Central Florida, would it be good to start with you, or should they start with the economic development people? Where should they start?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on who they are. And it might not be either one of us, actually. It might be an organization like the National Entrepreneur Center that provides a lot of great help for companies, small businesses, entrepreneurs that want to start a business or locate here. But certainly I'd be glad to help traffic control, if you will, if somebody would like to reach out to me. And if I'm not the right person, I will certainly do my best to try to get them to someone who can be of assistance to them, whether that is the Orlando Economic Partnership. It might be one of the chambers. We have a lot of specialty chambers here, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and all sorts of others that are very helpful when it comes to assisting small businesses and entrepreneurs in the community, or who are interested in the community as well.
So Caroline, as we finish up, would you mind putting up the slide again that has your contact info?
Oh,
in
happy
case people
to.
didn't get a chance to make a note.
Yeah, let me open that back up too. Pretty easy to find, actually, if you just go on to and look for our UCF incubator. If you just put UCF incubator in Google, then we're going to pop up, and our contact information, all of that, myself and my team, we are on the website as well. So, and our application process is on there. Information about our various locations.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carol Ann. It's been great talking to you today. I really appreciate your time. This is valuable information. There's a lot of people in California who know they need to leave. They have no idea where to go. Many of them have businesses, and as a Central Florida native, I can certainly attest to the fact that Central Florida is a great place to own and run a business. And I look forward to hearing about success stories of people reaching out to you and transitioning to Central Florida for their new businesses.
Thank you, Terry. And thank you all for taking time to listen. And please do reach out if I can be of help.
Thanks, Carol Ann.
Take care.